They say if you ever see the man with no wrists on the overpass, don't offer him a ride, he's not going where you are. Every city has that one stretch of road people avoid after dark. Ours is the old overpass on the edge of town. By day, it's just concrete and graffiti, cars rumbling over the cracked lanes, pigeons clustered under the beams. But at night, no one lingers. People will drive the long way around just to avoid crossing it. It's not because of crime, or accidents, or ghosts in the usual sense. It's because of him. The man with no wrists. That's what we call him. The first sighting goes back decades, drivers saying they saw a tall man walking the shoulder of the overpass long after midnight, head tilted down, dressed in a long gray coat that never moves in the wind. At first, nothing seems wrong, until you notice his arms. They just end. No hands, no wrists. The sleeves of his coat hang limp, but you can see bone stumps glistening faintly where fingers should be. People say he doesn't stop you. You stop for him. Something about the way he walks makes you pull over, even if you swore you wouldn't. He leans down to your window, his face pale and wet, like paper soaked in rain. He'll smile at you with teeth too square, too perfect, and he'll ask for a ride. His voice is soft, polite, almost kind. Most people say yes. They don't make it home. The lucky few who survived swore the same thing. Once he's in the car, the world outside stops looking familiar. The city lights fade. The buildings twist, stretch, or vanish entirely. Some roads loop endlessly. Others end at places that shouldn't exist, alleys lined with doors that open to nothing, tunnels that breathe warm air, highways paved in bone-colored stone. The man with no wrists just sits quietly in the passenger seat, smiling, waiting. He doesn't hurt you himself. He doesn't need to. Eventually, the car simply isn't yours anymore. But there are rules. Old ones, passed from driver to driver, scratched into bathroom stalls, whispered at late-night diners. They say these rules might save you. Rules to survive the man with no wrists. 1. Never stop your car on the overpass after midnight. Even slowing down is enough to draw his attention. 2. If you see him in the rearview mirror, don't look twice. His reflection moves slower than he does. 3. If he leans to your window, keep your hands hidden. He's searching for wrists to replace his own. 4. Never follow the road if the streetlights disappear. That means you're already driving in his world. 5. If he ever smiles at you with no teeth, don't blink. That's not him anymore, it's whatever comes next. They say the overpass is cursed, but I don't think that's right. I think it's just his door. And one night, if you're unlucky enough, he'll be waiting for you to drive through it. I learned that the hard way last winter, driving home after a late shift. The highway was nearly empty, the air heavy with that kind of silence you only notice at 2 a.m., when even the world seems to be asleep. My headlights carved tunnels of white through the frost fog, and the concrete shape of the overpass loomed ahead like a jaw waiting to snap shut. I'd driven through it countless times before. But that night, the air changed as soon as I passed under. My ears popped as though I'd crossed into some other pressure zone, and the radio, despite being switched off, buzzed with a faint voice I couldn't make out. At first, I thought I was imagining it. Then my rearview mirror caught something. Someone was standing in the middle of the road, directly behind me. He wasn't there before. The figure was tall, too tall, his head brushing the underside of the overpass, like he'd been waiting there, folded in the shadows. I only caught a glimpse before the mirror went black, as though someone had draped a cloth over it. I pressed the gas harder, telling myself I just needed to get home. But the longer I drove, the road refused to change. I should have seen the town's exit signs after 10 minutes, yet it was just the same endless stretch of cracked asphalt and leafless trees. I glanced at the clock on my dash, 2:11 a.m. I drove another 20 minutes. The clock didn't move. My phone had no signal, of course. And the GPS app? It wouldn't load the map. All it showed was a blue dot, circling endlessly in the middle of a gray void. That's when the static in my ears deepened, a low hum vibrating through my skull, like someone whispering but with their mouth pressed against my bones. Then came the knock. Not on my window, not on the trunk, on the inside of the car. Right behind my seat. A slow, deliberate rapping, like knuckles on glass, but there was no glass there. Just my headrest. I didn't dare turn around. I gripped the wheel, knuckles white, and pressed the pedal to the floor. The road dipped, and suddenly I was back under the overpass again. I hadn't turned, hadn't looped, but there it was, concrete pillars rising out of nowhere. My headlights swept across it, and this time, I saw the thing clearly. Not a man. Not anymore. His skin looked like waterlogged paper, sagging off his frame in strips, and his mouth was far too wide, grinning from ear to ear, showing teeth like broken glass bottles jammed into gums. He raised one arm as if waving me through, beckoning me to drive into the dark arch of his door. I did. I didn't have a choice. The air collapsed around me, the car shook, and every light inside flickered out for less than a second. But in that second, I saw them. The seats filled. Every inch of my car was crammed with bodies, slumped against the windows, faces pressed against the glass. Not alive, not dead, just waiting. And every one of them turned their heads toward me in perfect unison. Then, just as suddenly, it was over. My headlights illuminated the familiar exit to my town. The clock read 2:12 a.m. My mirror worked again. The back seat was empty. I pulled into my driveway on shaking legs, but when I opened the door, the smell hit me. Damp earth. Rotting leaves. Something that crawled beneath your skin. And on my passenger seat, resting neatly like it had been placed there with care, was a strip of wet, sagging paper. Thin as skin. Too thin. I don't drive under the overpass anymore. But sometimes, late at night, I hear that knock again. From inside the house. At first, I thought I was dreaming, those muffled raps echoing faintly down the hallway, like someone tapping the drywall with their knuckles. But then it came again, louder, sharper, right against the wooden frame of my bedroom door. I froze in bed, the sound vibrating through the stillness. The walls felt too thin, the air too heavy. It wasn't a burglar, no burglar waits to knock before coming in. This was different. Familiar. The same hollow rhythm I'd heard under the overpass. The same sound that had trailed me home. I didn't open the door. I just stared at it until dawn, eyes burning, every creak in the house twisting into that rhythm until the sun finally peeled it away. But it didn't stop. The nights stretched on, and the knocking became cleverer. Sometimes it came from the window, delicate taps against the glass, as if knuckles dragged lazily across the pane. Sometimes from inside the closet, rattling faintly, like a fist brushing the slats. I started to move through my house with every light on, clenching my teeth to keep from screaming when the sound came from the ceiling, from the attic I never use. Neighbors said they heard it too when I wasn't home, stray knocks from my walls, as if the house itself had learned to mimic him. One of them told me she swore she saw someone through my upstairs window, a figure standing just behind the curtains, head cocked like he was listening for something. I live alone. I tried everything. Salt at the doors, crosses on the walls, even moving my bed to the living room. But he follows the wood, the hinges, the hollow spaces. I can't escape him. I hear him even when I'm away, at hotels or friends' houses, polite little raps against unfamiliar doors. He doesn't care about where I sleep, he only cares that I do. The last time it happened, I made the mistake of answering. The knock came soft at first, 3 careful taps on the door beside my bed. I whispered, "What do you want?" My voice trembled. For a moment, there was silence so absolute I thought I'd finally broken free. But then, a slow, deliberate voice answered from the other side. Not loud, not angry, just calm, almost amused. "Just let me in." I couldn't breathe. My hands shook so violently I couldn't even reach for my phone. That voice wasn't human. It wasn't wrong either, it was too perfect, too steady, like the recording of a voice replayed from a place that shouldn't exist. I pressed my palms to my ears, but it didn't help. His words weren't sound anymore. They were inside me. I didn't open the door. God help me, I didn't. But now, every night, I wonder if I'm only delaying the inevitable. Because the knocks don't ask anymore. They insist. Louder. Closer. And last night, when I woke at 3:12 a.m., it wasn't the sound that startled me. It was the door handle, turning. I've sealed the overpass from my life, but I know the truth now, it wasn't the road that was cursed. It was me. That door followed me here, and it's waiting for the one moment I'll be too tired, too slow, too broken to resist. And when I finally open it, when I finally see what's waiting on the other side, I don't think I'll live long enough to close it again.